Coleman medal, the Norm Smith medal, Brownlow medal is Jimmy Bartell. Matthew Lloyd.
We're calling it September Sunday. On Sunday, that's what it's all about. What can the Bulldogs do? They don't want to have themselves out of September, and the Giants is about securing a top 2 spot, Jimmy. And you've found them interesting. They're on a winning streak, 7-game winning streak, but they're also scoring a lot, but also conceding a bit.
Yeah, it's turned into a bit of a track meet, Lloydie, where it's your turn, our turn, your turn, our turn. And with the class of Hogan and Green up forward, they've been able to score. And this is the last time at Mars where they're going to play on the weekend. And this is what got the Giants really into the finals this game. Their second half comeback. You look how quick and explosive are. This is the tsunami as we've come accustomed to. Back half to front half, finish with a really easy finish here with Icardi on the end. But they're allowing the opposition to do it to them as well. They're 16th for inside forward 50s against. So that's a pretty glaring number when you're top 4 on the ladder. So they're playing with a lot of speed, but they're allowing the opposition to do this. And you watch all the defenders here for the Giants. Everyone's trying to stream back, but it's actually allowing the opposition easy opportunities to score against them.
Remind me a bit of Collingwood last year, just winning and winning the tight ones. Just on Jesse Hogan, the most informed player, winning the Coleman by 10 goals, but they go to him a lot. I just wonder if somebody like Liam Jones can keep him to under 3 goals. Are they relying too much now on Jesse Hogan in this game? So this is why you bring a guy like Liam Jones to your football club to take down the stars of the opposition. I don't think he should wrestle with him. Maybe get in behind him potentially, Jimmy, but just because he's as strong as anyone in the game at the moment, Jesse.
Because we've shown a number of highlights, if you stand next to Jesse Hogan, he puts the arm out, he can come up on the lead, and you're right, Jones's athleticism, he can start a little bit behind and spoil. But I'm fascinated down in the Dogs forward line. These two guys we know are a great combination as key backs, which leaves one out. So whoever plays the deepest, but Harry Himmelberg, of course, he's still new to playing defence, played most of his career in the forward line. He's been opened up a little bit as far as in one-on-one contests, Lloydie, and just his starting points just haven't been great, and the opposition forward are getting lots of space.
Yeah, absolutely lacking touch, and you're spot on. I think whoever gets him, just drag him back to the goal scorer. He's the vulnerable one. Taylor's a gun. Buckley's a gun. But look at this, just a lack of touch. Players are leading in, and some of his teammates are getting a little bit frustrated with Himmelberg as well. So this one, too far off his men. And you look at Connor Iden afterwards. They're just looking at him. They're disappointed at him. The two of them look at each other. So it's an issue for the Giants.
And Lloydie, the big fella down here, number 32, big Kieran Briggs, big physical guy, probably going to go against the Rock Lobster, Rory Lobb in the ruck.
Yeah, it's huge advantage. He was really sore. This is Lobb at the end of the game last week after he played on Tristan Sherry. It's not the place he wants to be. He wants to be behind the ball, marking like he has been for the last 5 or 6 weeks. So he's a sore boy. And now he's got to front up against the most aggressive ruckman in the comp.
Who loves to bash into you first. He's a high clearance player, Kieran Briggs, for a ruckman. He loves to make physical contact. He's not going to jump over the top, but he is a brute. He hits really hard, and he often gets the contested ball. And we've seen too, can push forward at different times.
What a game this is going to be. I think 2 of the most informed teams in the competition. I'm going to back the Western Bulldogs in to win this one, being at Mars. What do you think?
Yeah, and it could put the result for a couple of other teams to doubt. I'm still going to back the Giants because they want to play for a top 2 spot.
Damo's the informed tips. So who do you think? Yeah.
Leaning on, it's only Wednesday, Lotto, but I'm leaning toward the Giants.
Okay. Yeah. Sam?
Giants.
Yeah.
Just.
The Coleman medal, the Norm Smith medal, Brownlow medal is Jimmy Bartell. Matthew Lloyd.
So much at stake for the Blues to hang on to 8th position or even move up to 7th in this one of the last games of the season, Jimmy. And it was their unpredictability against West Coast that took them by surprise.
Yeah, I know they were playing West Coast, and West Coast didn't have a lot to play for, but the big takeaway for me was 15 marks inside forward 50. But I love just this instinct, just play on, go, because you are a bit smaller in the forward line. And look at this, just take first option. I don't think they would have done that for a lot of the year. Just hit the short up, reward it. But because of that, all the movement now from players who want to get involved. So as soon as this handball is given from Cincotta, facing the other way, playing with Dare, look at everybody trying to peel off, charge forward, and when the final kick comes inside forward 50 with Kennedy out here, look at the 4 players for Carlton. There's movement, someone back leading, coming up there, trying to stay live, even Blake Acres rolling down the wing. So this needs to be the blueprint for Carlton. Everyone is live, which pulls the defence apart. So when you add the big boys back, later or early next year, it actually gives them better looks.
The question is, can Kemp do it again? When they can plan for this after a week, that will be the challenge for the Blues. On St Kilda, there's been no Max King. Not saying everyone would love to have Max King in their team, but they're unpredictable as well. and they marked really well against Geelong in forward line.
Yeah, we saw this in the second half, and look at this movement here. Sharman came all the way from the other side. Darcy Wilson was big in the second half, but it was the instinctual movement from Brad Hill in the middle of the ground. Just take the next option, go off the angle or on the 45, and it spreads Geelong's defence, who we've come accustomed to over the years. Very structured, very well drilled defence, can help each other. But look at this, no one can help. Guthrie flies back, it's chaos everywhere, and good things happen when you play with movement and everyone's moving around, and you just take the first one. I love this kick from Membry. That is a brilliant kick of the ball there, just slightly to advantage. You don't need to dump the ball every time.
This man never gets mentioned for All Australian, and I just want to keep throwing him up. I love what Rowan Marshall does week in and week out. It's always the other players. It's been Sherry for the first time. It's Gawn all the time. I'm sure Gawn will get it, but he may not have the ruck craft of some. But he kicks goals every week. He gets, look at the disposals, 20 possessions. Some midfielders don't get that. So he's a player up against Mark Pitnett, which should be a fantastic battle. And Jack Sinclair, All-Australian again, you think?
Maybe. It depends whether they play him as a back, a mid or out on the wing. You'd probably call him a surgeon here because he just picks you apart. Kicking, taking the ball forward, brings everyone else into the game. I love this. Don't keep swinging the ball wide. Look up the corridor. You've already done the switch. And as we mentioned before, the Cats' defence is now scrambling. Looks up, just bang. That's a little 15-metre kick. And just reward the players coming at you. You've got good shots on goals. Look at this. Good things happen. Eyes up. I'm going to take the deep one because everyone thinks he's going to hit the one up. The ones further down the ground open up.
For me, I think you send Jack Steele to Patrick Cripps. Joshy Battle takes care of Kemp. I'm not sure how Carlton win this game of footy. I think St Kilda should be winning this game.
Yeah, I think the Saints as well. If they play like they did in the second half against the Cats, they're going to be tough to beat.
So Fremantle and Port, and maybe a dead rubber, could be everything to play for in the last game of the season. It's been set up beautifully, and this is the back page of the West Australian during the week. Could even have been the front page of the Sport, the Chokers. So
Yikes.
They are under a lot of pressure after losing their last 3 games of football, and I'm putting pressure on Fife and O'Meara. I think Fife and O'Meara aren't doing enough for the Fremantle Dockers. They're getting selected week in and week out, but you can't be a 16-possession midfielder in this game anymore.
Yeah, and if you're not going to get much of it, you've got to have impact on the game. This is a bit low, this score involvements and even the clearances between 2 very experienced guys. He's got great running power. He might have to go to one of Port Adelaide's best midfielders because, Lloydie, we know with Port Adelaide's young midfield, they're dynamic from the stoppage and they hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, so you've obviously got Brayshaw, Sarong and Young, so they're wonderful players. But as I said, the other 2 have to jump on board like Travis Boak has. And this is the worry. This is the damage. This is the one wood of Port Adelaide. This is what could take them to grand final day if they can finish second, this midfield.
Yeah, and Lloydie, Freo are in a difficult position for me, and we highlighted Jesse Hogan a little bit earlier. As we see Connor Rose, he's done that many times in his career, but Brennan Cox last week, this is where senior coach, you've got all those people up there in the coach's box. This happened all throughout the game. That's in quarter 1. Why are you handing over when there's the ball's only 30 metres away? An uncontested mark of the goal square. They lost by such a small margin. And look at this, no body contact. Surely at some stage during the game, a coach goes, we need your starting point to be directly on someone. And this is the one that absolutely killed them. He was off Jesse Hogan in the middle of the ground, who marked the ball. But then watch Jesse Hogan. He just keeps going. He's the most dangerous player in the game right now. So why would you just drop off and be 25 metres? So come on, coaches. You've got to hold players accountable. I know you want to play your role, but that cost them.
Yeah, I think it's a problem with the modern game. Defenders don't want to defend, and that's why we love Sam Taylor, Jacob Wiedering types, because they play the game the right way. I think Fremantle, you asked me the question in the production meeting, do they win an ugly game or do they go for it, Jimmy? And they have to go for it for mine.
Yeah, and a guy for me is Jordan Clark, who can provide that go for it. And I love his season so far. He's averaging career highs in possessions, metres gained. He's got a lot of confidence. But you've called this probably a 70 to 80 metre player. He runs, bounces, he wants to take the game on. And this gives your forwards a chance because they're going to be a bit smaller in the forward line. The big kahuna, Tracy's out. But this gives the small forwards an opportunity and the mid-size to move into something good. He takes the game forward. So he's a one watch for Port Adelaide because he can actually shorten the field on you really quickly.
I'll tip the Dockers at home, but as I said, they could be out of it by the time this comes around, Sam. So, yeah, what about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Dockers at home.
Yeah, big round of footy.
So you've got the Blues losing and the Dockers winning, which means Blues miss.
That would be the case, yeah.
Goodness me. Pressure on the Blues if Lordo's predictions and his crystal ball is correct.